The contention of this video is that AI doesn't need to be better than humans to replace them. I'm going to put on the screen over here my editor. I'm using Z, and I'm using the Claude 4.5 Sonnet model. And I'm going to ask it to make an app that I always wanted to make, and that was a financial wealth tracking app. So it just basically allows me to input my portfolio, and then it'll update it. So it includes crypto and metals and property and savings accounts and that kind of thing. Let's let that get started. Now, full disclosure, I did have to speed it up because it took about 32 minutes, and I don't want this video to go for 32 minutes, but let it do its thing, and then we're going to get back to the result in a moment. So when I was a kid, there was this old German guy down the road, and he had a massive farm. It was acres and acres, and he created his own little Germany. He had his own Black Forest, his own Schwarzwald, and he had these rolling Bavarian-like hills, grassy knolls. It was really beautiful, just here in the outskirts of Melbourne. And he would work on it, and sometimes I would go down there and walk around the property or help out. And he had this brand of saw because he needed a lot of equipment on the property, and it was a Swedish brand. And he really loved this Swedish brand. He thought that this brand of saw is just such high quality. And one day he goes to the hardware store, and it's not there anymore. And it's been replaced by what we would call a knockoff Chinese cheap version. And for the Zoomers out there, China wasn't always the most formidable economy on the planet, okay? There was a period of time where a lot of stuff that China produced wasn't really good. And yet this product beat the Swedish one. And there's an important lesson here, because it wasn't that consumers necessarily wanted that cheaper saw. They were willing to pay for the more expensive one. But some MBA out there, you know, who wanted to optimize and make everything efficient, blah, 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 had decided that this is not going to be on that shelf anymore. So it was no longer an option. So the inferior product beat the superior product. And I always remember being really perplexed by this. I never forgot about it. You often hear the business types, the entrepreneurs, I like to call them. They talk about you have to have a product which is 10 times better. They got that from Peter Thiel in order to be successful. And frankly, it's just not the case, as we saw in that saw example. But the saw is not the only example. You can see that there's been, in many cases, a degradation of quality, or a deterioration in quality. So think about, for example, architecture. It's one of the most irritating things for me. If you look at the Cologne Cathedral, it took hundreds of years to build. And then if you look at modern architecture, I don't need to go into it too much, but it's thoroughly unimpressive. So once again, there's an example where a superior product beat out the inferior product. And right now I'm making the assumption that engineers, human engineers, are superior to AI. We can have a look at the code when it's done and make up our own minds about that. But the fact is, though, a lot of the time, humans aren't that good at their job. And I'm not making a moral judgment. I mean that a lot of people, they prioritize other things, and I think that's totally fair enough. Their families and their hobbies and their side hustles. So I know, for example, if you're watching this, then you're probably going to really take pride in your craft. You're probably one of the best engineers because you're watching a tech channel. Not everyone has to be the best engineer. I don't think in this world we need to have everyone needs to be absolutely the best. And so it's kind of understandable, but it means that if you ever move career, which is a point I want to make in this video, I moved from banking into technology, and I found the same phenomenon in both, which is that a lot of people are just not that proactive about their jobs. And it means that if you are dedicated, then you can rapidly scale up your skills and you can be just as good as someone who's got more experience. So now we've got this situation where we know that inferior products, say what AI creates, can win because businesses care most of all about money. And we know that a lot of engineers aren't even that good. And I'm talking about engineers, but you can apply this to lawyers, to bookkeepers, to delivery drivers. You know, basically every job is going to be disrupted. Some obviously more than others, but there's going to be huge disruption. But let's assume that you are a 10x engineer, or now they're calling it a 100x engineer with AI. You're still many thousands of times more expensive. And this is the ultimate driver of what is going to produce the jobs and where the money is going to flow, how the capital is going to be allocated. It is true that the Cologne Cathedral is more beautiful than modern architecture. It is true that most products aren't as good necessarily as they were, with the exception of technological advancements. But even when it comes to food and everything, portions aren't as good. Now, Nassim Taleb talks about the concept of mediocristan and then extremistan. And what he uses as an example is opera singers. So back in the day in Italy, you'd have different cities like Milan or Florence or Verona, and you would have opera singers, and they would be popular in their specific city or in their specific province, and then they would command a good audience and they could live off that. But now what happens is that a single opera singer, because of the advent of technology and social media and television and everything, they are able to command a much larger audience, even though they might not even necessarily be the best, or they're only marginally better than other opera singers. And so they command all of this revenue and fame. And we see this in everything. We see this, with Instagram, with influencers. We see it with winner takes all in the software sector. So you're going to have companies like OpenAI and Anthropic, assuming that they survive. Eventually, some of these are going to run out of cash. There will be a crash, but you will have survivors. You'll have them take all of the market. You'll see a lot of legacy software companies that are unable to adapt. They're going to go out of business. So there's going to be more consolidation. And the same thing's going to happen with engineers. I still think that there's going to be software engineers. There's even going to be some coders, because they're going to work on things like the Linux kernel or on really bleeding edge technology. And these guys are going to exist. But the vast majority of coders, quote unquote, are going to be replaced by AI. And it's important to be positive. I'm not telling you this to be a cunt, as we would say in Australia, pardon my language. You're a technologist already, and I use that term deliberately, because if you're a technologist, you know how to use technology. You're not a coder. For myself, I'm first and foremost a technologist, then I'm a project leader, I'm a technical leader, I'm a mentor. Code was never something that I identified as a core thing that I did, right? Because I built businesses and I led projects. Nevertheless, a lot of these code monkeys, they're going to be absolutely destroyed. They're going to be gone. And I'm not telling you that to depress you. Let's look at some positives, all right? On a positive note, if you work with technology, you're highly adaptable. You can change frameworks every few years. Another positive is we never have to use React.js again. Like, we don't have to write React code anymore. Not that I have for a long time, but that feels like a big win for humanity. But no, on a more serious note, you're already adaptable. Now, I've changed from banking into finance, and so I've reinvented myself. It's not that hard, and if you watch this channel, if you subscribe, I'll do more videos. Let me know if you like this kind of content. I will explain how I did that transition and how I'm going to do the next transition now that the world of technology is so profoundly changing. Funnily enough, my grandfather, he was trained as a farrier. That's for the non-English speakers, non-native English speakers, that's someone who shoes the hoof of the horse. And when the automobile came, he was put out of business and he became a greengrocer. This isn't the first time in history that people have been replaced and disrupted. Even a lot of these software companies that sold off, their jobs were actually replacing humans in the beginning anyway. All right, so the last thing I want to say is that the irony of the modern Westerner is, I find it quite perplexing that more than ever before, the downsides are not that low. Voicing your opinion is difficult these days, don't get me wrong, but you're not going to starve. If you lose your job, you're not going to starve. Mostly we are softies, and it applies to me as well, okay? But we live in a system where we can actually accept more risk and adapt more than ever before. So don't keep your head in the sand. We've got to be honest about this. This is happening. If you are a code monkey, then it's time to be honest with yourself. And it's not going to be a time where you're going to be able to extract money for that single kind of job. There's a shift away from that. This job's not going to exist anymore in the way that we knew it. And it's just how it is. So let's have a look at the code. Let's see how it went. So it wrote the code, which is in Rust, by the way, using Tauri, and then it has a Vue.js front end. It did it. It looked pretty 90s. I actually ran out of credit. It failed to compile. It had a bunch of warnings. It failed to compile, debugged, failed to compile. Eventually it ran. Didn't have any warnings or errors, but it did have problems within the code base. For example, like I would click on one of the assets and it would refresh with a new price, even though that price wasn't actually a true price. But if I'm a senior engineer, I'm able to do this. This has just done this in about half an hour for 12 American dollars. And now I'm able to go in there and bootstrap. I'm able to get this thing working. Is it as good as what I would have built with my own time? No, it's not. It's frankly, it's nowhere near as good, but it's cheaper, right? And that's what runs the mind of the MBA Harvard graduate. So it's really cheap, and it's spun that all up. It would have taken weeks probably for an engineer to do this. It's just what it is, guys. All right, so thanks very much for watching. I hope I'll see you in the next one.